Hey everyone, TXaRicH here. Welcome to the first episode of the Rewind Entertainment Podcast. I'm here with Animal,
What's going on?
Tater,
I saw it.
and the Monkey Boy.
What up, everybody?
Alright, with that being said, we're going to be talking about entertainment and games, and we're going to start off with the news of the week, led by Tater.
Alright, so I'm super excited about these couple of topics that I got here. And the first, I don't know if anybody else here has seen this, but we got a new trailer that released yesterday, a teaser trailer for Spider-Man Into the Spideyverse. And
Oh,
yeah,
I
oh
saw
my
that.
God, so for those of you that haven't seen it, it's going to be an animated film. And it's going to be releasing next Christmas, so we got to wait a year, but it's going to be a good year to be a Spider-Man fan next year with Venom coming out and as well as a new Spider-Man game. It's going to be sweet.
Uh,
And
Good.
it's just a teaser trailer, but it looks like it's going to be starring Miles Morales, which for those of you that don't follow the comics, was the quote-unquote Black Spider-Man. They brought him in after they killed off Peter Parker in one of the story arcs. So it looks really interesting.
This is from the Ultimate Universe, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I saw the YouTube video and I saw some of the comments in there, and I think people are just confused. Like, I saw comments like, "How is this happening in the MCU?" Blah blah blah. And I wanted to go in and be like, "You got to think about this like DC animated comics or animated films versus the DC movie universe. You know, like they're
Right,
separate
right.
things."
It takes
Well,
if you don't.
but it's going to be Sony that's going to be putting it out.
Right, right. No, I
Sony
saw.
Pictures Entertainment.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's not. I don't. It's not technically going to be a part of the MCU. It's going to be its own standalone thing. So I can see why people are getting confused, though.
Yeah, well, I remember seeing, I saw a bit of it. It said in association with Marvel Studios, so
Oh,
um,
okay.
I think that might have been what got
Throw-
people.
Throwing some people off there.
Yeah.
Jason, what were you going to say?
It takes a roadmap to figure out if you're not up to current events or anything. If you don't know, if you're just a casual fan,
Right.
it makes no sense. You're like, what?
Yeah, and I
Did he
mean,
die?
I think a lot of people are going to be really well, and I don't know if the death of Spider-Man's actually going to take place in Into the Spideyverse, but I think a lot of people, because all they really got to see was Spider-Man pulling off his mask, and all of a sudden he's a black teenage-looking kid. So that's probably going to confuse a lot of people too. But regardless, I think once people see it, it's going to be awesome. It looks really well animated too. I really like the section of it.
I
But yeah, so.
I watched it, and there was actually a shot showing Peter Parker's grave.
Oh, see, I didn't even see that. I only got to watch it once.
Like,
I'm gonna have to go back and analyze it.
yeah, it was I mean, it technically wasn't confirmed. It said P Parker.
Sure.
So I don't know if there's
Uh,
another like.
well, and it was weird too, because at the very end of the trailer, you just see Miles sitting with another guy in a Spider-Man suit. I don't know, I couldn't see his face or anything. Random other white guy in a Spider-Man suit. He's like, "How many of there are us?" And you see one of the radioactive like spiders that bit Spider-Man crawling down the wall. So it looks really interesting, and I'm really excited to see more trailers.
Is Spider-Man
I
your
think
favorite?
Spider-Man is one of my favorite series. Not my favorite. My favorite is X-Men, even though they put out disappointing movies. But Spider-Man is my close second because I played all the games when I was little, like the really ugly looking games, but
Spider-Man
they were
2.
they were some of my favorite
Some of the
games.
first
Yeah,
open world ones, really.
Yeah.
yeah, and they really were, and they're really good games. I haven't played a Spider-Man game that was inherently bad, so I'm really looking forward to the next one that's coming out this year.
Well, I guess that, yeah, I was gonna say that would be the next thing to ask you was what do you think about the new Spider-Man game?
Um, I don't know. It looked very. I assume that's one of the missions that you play, like one of the intro missions, but it looked very reminiscent of the Batman games, where it's very react by pressing X button or whatever. So I'm not super thrilled with that, but I'm excited because it's a Spider-Man game. We haven't had one in a long time, so
Well, I think they saw the success of the Arkham brand and how it went crazy. And
right.
they're probably going to jump on that kind of animation style. and that storyline and that action. So
And I don't know.
don't F up the.
I like the stories of the Batman games. I'm not super keen on the actual
Reaction.
gameplay, like the physical gameplay. So, or at least the mechanics of the gameplay. So, but that's just me. And that's like same thing with Shadow of Mordor. I wasn't I wasn't huge on the physical gameplay mechanics when fighting, even though it had a really good storyline and it was a compelling game. So, but that's my take on Spider-Man games, anyways.
Well, going back to your trailer that you were talking about, I think if you're a hardcore comic fan, I think you're going to enjoy the animation style if they are kind of doing what DC's been doing with their animation. A
Agreed.
lot of DC's animation has been, I mean, almost word for word or screen or from the panels of the comics. At least the New 52 run, at least that's
Yeah,
what they've been working on. So it's
and New 52's been killing it ever since it
yeah,
came
New
out.
52's
So
been killing it, and then we've gone into Rebirth now, and that's just been blowing up. DC's been on, hasn't dropped the ball yet, and I don't think they will.
if only they could get their movie game on point.
Yeah, no, I totally
Oh,
agree with that. The
Yeah.
movie game
Oh
is
my
weak on
gosh.
there.
so
Oh,
we
that's another topic. Let's not delve into there.
But
But yeah, any last comments on the Spider-Man?
Uh, Nothing really. I just know that like it'll be a big year for Spider-Man next year.
It's gonna be a huge year for Spider-Man.
I'm looking
All
at some of the
right,
stills of it, and it looks good.
it looks very pretty.
Yeah,
It looks very
yeah, it
pretty.
does look sharp.
All
So
right, one more movie on the agenda. It's something I'm super excited about. I actually have the book and I'm in the process of reading it. It's Ready Player One. Any of y'all heard of Ready Player One?
oh,
I've
definitely
heard. I saw this one
nostalgia
title.
centric.
I saw one
It's
title in Reddit. Like some character is gonna be in that movie.
Bryce. You want to give a quick synopsis?
Basically take a overpopulated world. Everybody is basically living in VR, essentially. And when they go into the VR, we're talking about going into just nostalgia. I mean, we have Iron Giant, we have Freddy Krueger, we have the DeLorean all over the place. Um, it's just going to be packed. Steven Spielberg is directing it, by the way. It's going to be
yeah,
packed
it's got
with
Simon Pegg and T.J. Miller in it as
everything.
well.
Yeah,
See, and I didn't even know about that piece. All I
Yeah,
saw was
it's
the
gonna
main
be sweet.
character.
So yeah, like he was saying, it's just a shitty overall outside like real world, and there's this virtual world. Like if anybody's ever seen, it's very similar where you go into this game virtually and it's just so real. And what happens is the creator of the game ends up dying and puts a Easter egg inside of the game and puts a huge bounty on it, and whoever gets it gets the money and gets control of the game because he's dead. He's handing it off, and they just go into this all-out dogfight of everybody against everybody. And then I guess you could say like maybe not the government, but the man is trying to go in and find it and get control of the game. So it's going to be a really interesting movie to see how they put it up because it's been a big book for a long time, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. So I'm very interested to see how the movie's going to go.
I'm excited about the music also that they put into it. I mean, we have Rush going into it. We have, if you didn't know if you caught it or not, if you've ever watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, they took one of the opening songs and like slowed it down.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so definitely go back and rewatch that trailer. They have that in there, and that's actually not the very. Or there's another trailer I saw recently that also was using something or one of the songs from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So I'll have to find that one, and maybe that'll be next month's discussion or next week's discussion or something like that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, I'm super looking forward to that. That one don't have a release date on it yet or a planned release date on it yet.
March 30th, 2018.
March 30th. There you go. So
Well,
not
that's
too
actually
far
pretty
away
soon.
actually. In a couple
Yeah,
of
it's not far
yeah,
away.
I need to finish the book before it comes out. But yeah, super excited about that. Looks like another really great gamer movie, I guess you could say.
I
We don't really get too many of them. What
I
were you
don't
gonna
think
say,
it's a
Jason?
typical gamer movie. Like
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
gritty. It's not like based on just shooting and doing this and
Right.
like that other movie
Gamer.
like a
Yeah.
Gamers High or something where it's all about playing games. This is kind of life meets games or life
Yeah.
meets so it has that aspect on it. So I think it's gonna be more serious.
Yeah, which I think it will draw on a lot more people than just fans, I guess,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
Than just
So,
gamers. Yeah. It's
plus,
gonna draw.
if anybody sees the nostalgia factor of the trailer, I think that'll draw people too. So I have pretty high expectations for this movie. So
Especially since it's not a superhero movie.
yeah, very true, very true. Which I mean, they come out like every other month now, so it's hard to even
Yeah.
it's hard to even get excited sometimes.
Yeah,
But
it's like almost 3 superhero movies a year.
for
4.
exactly. So yeah, but that's Ready Player One. Look forward to that soon in 2018. Now moving on to some games. Not a whole lot this specific week. Soul Calibur 6 was announced, and they also had quite a bit of gameplay of it. And I don't know how many have played Soul Calibur in the past, but
Oh yeah.
it's it's talk about nostalgia. This game has been around for a long ass time.
It kept the
It's
Dreamcast alive for a while.
it
Oh,
for
yeah.
man.
Competing with, Mortal Kombat series and
Which
Street
I
Tekken.
mean, if you
Fighter.
think of it now, I mean, Mortal Kombat comes out all the time, and Tekken just recently got revived. So I mean, I guess it's just the time of the fighters again. I guess this is just gonna be the next one that comes out, and I'm super excited because it looked really nice, but like with Tekken, I was kind of disappointed. Like it looked pretty, but I don't know. I wanted more, so I'm hoping that when Soul Calibur 6 comes out, it's not a disappointment
Oh.
after everybody's waited so long for it.
Soul Calibur is my favorite fighting franchise over SOCOM, over everything.
I just
I mean, it's my first one I ever got hooked on because on Xbox, the old one, like Soul Calibur 2 or 3, you
Yeah,
can have Spawn. On the Nintendo, you can have Link, and I forgot who was on the PlayStation. Metroid.
I remember they had one where like Darth Vader was PlayStation and Yoda was Xbox.
Yeah, that was the one after
It was okay,
that
okay.
Spawn one. Yeah, yeah.
Wasn't that
So-
4 or 5? One of the two.
That was the last one I remember.
I definitely remember Yoda being in it. I think that was for GameCube.
so
Yeah,
but they have 10 minutes of gameplay out now, so is excited about that. Definitely go check it out. It looks beautiful. So. But that's all I got for Soul Calibur. Next, I'm just going to touch on a few things which I feel like we're probably not going to get to when we're talking about game awards for 2017. I want to highlight Best Performance and Games of Impact, Hellblade, Sesuna's Sacrifice. It's a dark ass game. That's that's like the best way I can put it, but it's a very moving game as well. And I think it went under a lot of people's radar. Like I don't think any of y'all have probably played it, have you?
No,
I have not. Never even heard of
Yeah,
it.
and
I-
it was a crowd-funded game, and it turned out beautifully and actually caught fire with a lot of people. But I still think it's one of those super underrated games that just nobody. Oh, and I missed one. It also had best audio design. So I mean, it took several of the top awards when it comes to games of 2017, and I just feel like so many people have never even heard of it, which is it's super upsetting.
yeah,
I'm
it's
looking at some stills of it, and it looks really good.
It
Yeah,
does look
it's-
really good.
it's
From just the stills, it looked like what's that? Horizon Zero Dawn, but
Yeah,
Nice.
like
right.
the
It
art
was
style.
it was like the kind of under the radar Horizon type deal.
But,
Yeah.
it was like Horizon meets like Bloodborne,
Right.
like that kind of dark and creepy, but like kind of like if you could take that and make it lighter, like what was the game we were just talking about?
Horizon.
Just that great.
Horizon. Yeah, if you can make it more like Horizon, if you can make Bloodborne like Horizon, that's the game you'd get. And it's just it's an awesome game. I highly encourage everybody to check it out.
I'm adding that one to my cart right now.
You should. And then another game which I'm sure a lot of people still haven't heard of is What Remains of Edith Finch, and it won Best Narrative at 2017 Game Awards. And this is I'm an emotional dude, but this game almost made me cry, like straight up. It's such a good game. It is a very moving game, and anybody that plays it is going to enjoy it. It's not the longest game, as it's one of those indie kind of games that are shorter but very like if you could think of Journey, it's
Journey
if
was
you could think
great.
of that style of game, it's the same style of game. It's got a very good even though Journey didn't have any words, it was still a very moving game.
Yeah.
But What Remains of Edith Finch is a very good game, and I highly encourage everybody to check it out. Won Best Narrative at 2017 awards. So that's all I wanted to touch on for the Game Awards, because I feel like we're going to touch on it a little later. But very controversial within our group here. The last topic for the news I got here is the DLC for the Curse of Osiris for Destiny 2. We all of us here have played Destiny. A couple of us played very hardcore with Destiny. As far as the Curse of Osiris, which is the new DLC that just came out for Destiny 2, I'm pulling some information from IGN here. "Quote unquote, it landed in Destiny 2 with a thud." It says its campaign and story are a bust. Its content is mixed and buggy at best. It does nothing to address the community's loud the end game, which is one of my biggest pet peeves with the game. However, it says that there's more challenging and varied adventures. The raid layer puzzles are tough, and it has a tough boss battle. So, I'd love to hear some takes on it from you guys.
I'm the only one. I'm probably the only one who's played it so far. I haven't done the raid layer yet. The story was very disappointing. I personally wanted to actually fight against Osiris, but spoiler alert, you don't.
Rip.
Because in the lore of it, he gets exiled from the city. He was like the most powerful Vanguard warlock ever, like in the
It was
entire.
the shit.
Yeah, he's the reason he actually, in my opinion, saved D1 Destiny 2 when they decided to do Trials of Osiris. Like it was
Yep.
based off him. Like that was fun. That was great. That was like the first taste of like competitive.
Absolutely saved
Yeah.
Destiny 1.
And bringing that iconic character into this in such a small short story was very disappointing. I personally would think they would kind of go back to it and their quote unquote Taken King type thing for 2018. I think they should. He needs to be expanded on more. The strikes and adventures were fun. I mean, it's not your typical stuff. One thing I'll say about the strike design in Destiny 2 is it's more it's different. It's not just, hey, you're at the end boss, now you shoot him. You actually do like some certain things during the strikes, like one of them where you have to smash the void balls into the thing to lose their shields and blah blah blah. Like it's a little bit more varied than it was in Destiny 1. They continue that with these strikes. It's just you go through it. If you're expecting like more story, you'll be disappointed. If you're just all about the gameplay, you won't be disappointed, because I personally think Destiny has the best first person gameplay out there still.
Call it.
I don't know about that, but like it didn't bring much, because I really didn't expect this to bring much, because if you think about it, this DLC was 90% completed when Destiny 2 first launched. They weren't going to change it.
If not more.
Yeah, if not
Yeah.
more. Like, so they weren't going to learn from their mistakes already. Now they can possibly learn from their mistakes in the next DLC, probably in April. Maybe not. I don't expect much. I expect people to come into this, do their thing on Tuesday, and then go play other games the rest of the week. It's still going to be like that for the immediate future. You're going to have to probably wait until April.
Which
I haven't played the DLC yet, but I did look up lots of reviews, and it's pretty much copy and paste Destiny 2 vanilla. So you're not getting anything extra. And I'm very disappointed with this. I want to like the game so much because I love Bungie, but they're really just shitting on everybody, in my opinion.
And it's a beautiful game.
It's
It's just
You can't argue with that.
it's,
You can't argue with the gameplay, the action. You can't argue with that. The storyline, and the way they're doing stuff. Like you can't play Heroic Strikes if you did not get the DLC at all. But that's the thing we got
Really?
in Destiny 1. Yeah, you have to be level 22 or something like that.
You have to just be past level 20, and the
So you have to-
prestige mode of the raid and prestige mode of Nightfall are locked behind the DLC. So if you can't.
So you can't even do the Nightfall.
Yeah, you can't do the prestige.
You can't do
Nightfall.
prestige.
Can't do prestige,
Got it.
yes.
Okay.
Which is like Heroic Nightfalls.
Gotcha.
So-
Gotcha.
And they added better loot to it, I heard as well. Like more
Well,
legendary.
that was definitely needed because they
Yeah,
were just.
well,
It was useless. There was no point in doing the Nightfall
like
unless
once you hit,
until you're max light.
yeah, when
like,
you hit max light, there's no reason to do it. Like there's no
But
reason.
I
to
mean,
do it.
anybody that really wanted to play Destiny 2 probably grinded out max light within I don't know a couple of weeks at least on one character, if you didn't play it every day. And I don't know. That's just.
I'm going to
after
give
that,
the
Destiny.
replay
useless.
the replay piece of it is just kind of eh.
I know. Yeah, the first go around through everything is good. You're like, oh, this looks pretty, this is brilliant. But then you're like, okay, where's the rest of it? You're like, oh, okay, that's it. And so,
Here's
And
the
it's
one
super-
thing that's happened this weekend that's been, I think, the most fun. There's a gun in the game right now that is bugged. It's broken. It's called
so broken.
It's called the Prometheus
broken.
Lens. It has made Crucible. It was terrible at first, and then surprise, Bungie did the right thing and let Xur sell. Like Xur is selling it right now.
So
Yeah, but
everybody.
it's just-
Everyone
that's
has
like-
it. So
It's
it's just if you don't
But
take it seriously, it's the most fun in the Crucible
like
I've had.
if you're thinking of like
this
actually, if you're
time.
thinking of the game, they shipped this right. It was a very mediocre DLC, and the best thing about it was something that was a mistake.
That was a
That was a
bug.
bug, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's
But the thing
gotta
is,
say something for
the
it,
thing
right?
about this
I mean,
game is people are actually, just like Andrew, is liking bugged gun because this bugged gun reminds them of the overpowered exotics in Destiny 1, like the Thorn.
Yeah,
true.
because
And
you don't have that anymore, and
You don't have that at all. There's the time to kill and everything is so low or so high now that it seems like you're chipping away, and the only thing to do
it's
is
only
team shot.
Yeah,
It's team shot with
Right.
mediocre weapons. There's no exotics. That feels like it.
And what surprises me is that I don't think they've mentioned wanting to be an esport. So why go that route?
Yeah, to make it more of a gun battle game.
To make it you
Or
want it to be
team-based gun
balanced,
battle
but
game.
there's I remember their philosophy back in Destiny 1 is like every gun has their chance to shine. So at first we had Suros, then we had Thorn, Hawkmoon, then we go into the pulse rifle meta. Last word, yeah. Then we go to the pulse rifle meta with the Nerwin's Mercy. I'm sure y'all all remember that.
Yeah.
And then that lasted for a little bit, and then it went to very good, very well rolled hand cannons
Mhm.
with a high rate of fire autos, and then going into at the end, it was all about icebreaker hand cannons. Like you saw the progression. Everything had its spot in the sun for a bit.
And now everything just feels like,
Yeah,
Nerfed
I guess
into the
it's
ground
just
where
meh.
nothing stands out.
right.
yeah, it's just like
So-
nothing's super spectacular. But
And we started off talking about the DLC, but now we're kind of jumping into the game. How shit, whatever.
yeah,
But I knew that was going to happen if we brought up Destiny. But
yeah, we did.
and I have so many gripes about it. Like they said they destroyed our vault, got rid of all of our guns. And then no, you can't have them anymore. We're starting over. We're like, okay, whatever, as long as we get good guns. But now we're getting the same stuff they destroyed.
Yeah,
They're getting all Destiny 1, and they're just going to keep on re-rolling them, and they're nerfing them and putting them back in. Nerfing them. Putting them.
they're not nerfing them. They're just bringing back the ones that aren't super powerful, like the Mida and the Telesto and the Jade Rabbit. Like none
It
of
seems like
those.
the
None of
Mida
those.
was the only one that's actually good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
and-
just like those ones like weren't powerful in Destiny 1,
They will never bring the Spindle. They'll never bring the Thorn. They'll never bring Vex.
They'll never bring the
The
icebreaker.
S-word.
Yeah.
Icebreaker.
It's
They'll
just-
never bring the Galahorn.
Nope. But that stuff
So,
doesn't
yeah,
fit Destiny
but-
2 because it just seems exotic.
I guess we've gone on enough of a tangent. I guess the bottom line for me, they introduced Curse of Osiris. It was mediocre. They brought in an extremely compelling character, didn't expand on it at all, and then it. So it's just very disappointing, and it feels like Bungie really needs this next DLC to go up, or this game's just gonna be, it's just gonna be a bust, in my opinion.
I agree.
Especially for how much we paid for it. Let's just
Well,
put it
not
that
even.
way.
I mean, listen, for console gamers. Most of us here play console gamers. This was whatever. I mean,
yeah.
it's nothing special. So this is $60, 120 if you want.
I would say
Like,
for a lot of
that's pretty standard.
a lot
right?
of people, like they, like the mainstream people buy 2 to 3 games a year. Maybe it's like Madden, Call of Duty, Star Wars, or
Yeah.
Destiny could be one of them. Like they don't spend like possibly $60 every 2 weeks
Yeah,
to
so
get the
yeah,
new
they
game.
they buy a couple games themselves and then they wait.
It seems like you're breaking up a lot, Matt. Is that for anybody else or just me?
Yeah, it's a little bit.
I'm sorry, guys.
Bring it a little bit closer, dude.
I will give Bungie and Destiny till the next DLC because they're gonna have more than enough time to fix the problems and fix all the concerns.
Like the problem is the incentive, right? Like we're not saying that there's not enough stuff to do. We're saying there's just not incentive to do it. Like I remember finally getting boots because that was my last piece to get to level 30 to do the hard mode Vault of Glass. And when I finally did it and got it, like it made Vault of Glass fun, and then I grinded out for the Vex. Like it was just you always had something that you wanted. It just doesn't
We're always
seem
going to
like
be
now.
chasing for the Vault of Glass.
Yeah.
'Cause that experience, even to this day, if we jumped on there, we would still have fun.
Yeah.
Now, and so just we want that experience back in any shape or form, and we haven't got it. We're being
Agreed.
constant.
But I will say that everyone loves the raid layers. I'm hoping to try it out soon. It's just like it's kind of it's a 2-phase boss type deal. So it's kind of 2 encounters. Everyone seems to like it. Everyone seems to love the mechanics. Like everyone says that's the saving grace of the DLC, but it's just not enough.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to try it soon. But it's nice though. At least the original raid also got a light increase. So if y'all remember when Crota came out for Destiny Year 1, Vault of Glass, if you did that, you couldn't get to the next, like you couldn't be max level. Now you can do that with this. So that part, like that kind of design, is good. That raid's gonna be relevant all the time, no matter what now, through every DLC. So that's nice. It's just so like the raid is just like kind of expanding. So it's just that part I'm good with.
All right, guys. Well, that does it for the news. Until next time, hopefully we'll have some more juicy news next time. I think we had some pretty big news this week. I think my favorite was definitely Spider-Man, just because I'm looking forward to more Spider-Man. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna go into our personal game of the years for 2017. I'm just gonna list off. I just wanted to mention the Game Awards were this past week on Thursday. We all here probably had different Game of the Years for 2017. But here we go I'm just gonna list off the Game Awards list right now. So there were 5 nominees. I played 3 of these 5. So the first nominee was The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Second nominee was Super Mario Odyssey. Third nominee was PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. We all had fun with that. Fourth nominee was Persona 5. And then fifth nominee was Horizon Zero Dawn. So I just want to kind of go around, talk about what your personal one was. And by the way, at the Game Awards, Legend of Zelda won. So
Spoilers.
it was Thursday, dude. Come on. So I'll go ahead and start with mine. So my personal 2017 Game of the Year, I personally would say Horizon Zero Dawn. So granted, the reason because of that is because that's the main one I played. I did play Legend of Zelda for a bit, but the first time through kind of left me. I'm kind of weird when it comes to games that are so open, like open world, like Breath of the Wild is. It I wanted like more guidance at the beginning, and I felt like I didn't get that. And then I just started going through it again today, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna explore. That's how you have to play that game. With Horizon Zero Dawn, it always told you kind of what to do next, which is why I was able to go through that. It still had the open world aspects. You can still go hunt and do stuff, find and explore stuff. That was great. And I really I loved that game for this year. It was just super fun. Shooting robot animals with arrows was just great. It was a really good time for me. So
Yeah,
let's start with Jason. What is your game of the year?
Well, probably the one I played the most of the whole year and had the funnest on at the time, and still do. I just haven't played in a little while. It's going to be PUBG. Even that has so many flaws, and so many, but even that's kind of speaks to how well the game is. Is even with all the flaws, you still wanted to go back, and you still wanted to play. You still wanted to play with your friend.
And
And
to be honest, I'm ready for 1.0 to come out. Like I think we'll all
For
jump
sure.
back
yeah,
in there.
yes, and I like that game so much, and I'm glad we all got into it. And their devs and how they're treating the game is kind of unparalleled. You don't really see that, and
Right.
they're
It's very rare.
very, very rare, especially with a up and coming company and a new game.
Yeah,
And
especially up
so,
and coming companies. That's even more rare. Because I mean, you have games like MOBAs that update, patch every week to fix and balance stuff like that.
oh yeah,
But
and
it's a lot different when it's a battle royale game. When even there's like the changes that you put into game can completely change the games for everybody. So
yeah,
it's
and they're
definitely nice to
constantly
see.
adding new things. They're tweaking things. They're kind of hearing us and changing it. So I really like that aspect about it. And then the gameplay. If you can just take away the lag spikes and some of your FPS problems every once in a while, which they have in the last patch, where it has gotten better from what I heard.
It definitely has on the live servers at least, and on the test
So
servers they're testing out 1.0. It's gonna
yes,
have the desert map and everything, which I'm really excited for. They changed the HUD. The reason though I didn't give it my game of the year is because of that time where they just stopped doing updates for about a month or so, and I personally was in a bad spot. I guess
yeah,
my
I think you were the only one that was affected out of all of us, really.
I just don't know if my like hardware was acting up or if it just wasn't updated right. I had problems for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
There's like, we're not updating, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah, I was just like,
So
I'm just like, oh, you're not updating, and now I'm or lagging every 2 seconds. Like,
yeah. So no, it has its faults, and that's kind of a reason why I hold it up so high now is because we had so much fun on it while it had so many faults. And just imagine when it's going to be a fixed game
right.
and everything's
Right.
perfect, you're going to not want to play another game for a long time. And
Yeah.
so it's very one dimensional. You know what to do. You get in there. There's no story. There's no nothing like that. Which kind of you don't really ask for that for this kind of game. But I loved it, and so second nominee Warframe. But that's about it. So.
All right.
Well, I would say Warframe did have we're not gonna get into that, but the best update of the year, in my opinion. I know none of y'all played it.
it did. It did.
Yeah.
Everyone was talking about
They
it.
brought it back to life.
Yeah, for
Absolutely. It's an addiction. I can't stop. So
Oh, the good old MMORPG addictions.
Yeah. All right. Matt.
it's your fault.
Tater.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say mine is as well gonna be PUBG. And a lot of the reasons we already had said, but I think that if we're gonna talk about a game, to me, a game has to make a big splash to come in and be game of the year. And I do think that Horizon was very unique. I just don't think it was different enough from games like Fallout. Like if you just or not Fallout, I apologize. Games like Far Cry. It seemed like a very Far Cry Primal type of game, or just a Far Cry game in general. If you just changed the setting and the time, um, I really think that PUBG came in to a very isolated type of game type, where really H1Z1 was the one. Like there wasn't anything else really for other people to play if they wanted a battle royale game. It was H1Z1, and to come in and just completely dominate that field and just get so many to come and play that game, I think really speaks to how fun it was and how fun it still is, and it really just brought a whole lot of us together, especially, and we played the shit out of that game for quite a while, and we're ready for 1.0 for sure.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kind of can't wait.
Yeah, it looks
Kinda
really
just
nice.
a little bit.
I've been looking at some of the test server stuff and some of the desert footage. I saw actually a small video of a truck driving and not flying off in the air anymore. So
No way.
yeah.
But I saw one go through buildings.
Oh really?
Yeah, so apparently there's a
yeah,
pathway
just-
that goes
just
into
ignore-
a building.
Just ignore that one. That one was
Yeah.
that was supposed to be in the trailer.
There's a glitch.
Yeah.
So apparently that someone had found a pathway that led into a building, and they're like, "Oh, what does this do?" And then the guys just kept driving, and you watch it kind of go through the floor. So
Nah, don't worry about it. Look,
it's all
Yeah.
good.
I hear that the desert map looks good, but the layout not 100% great. But that's only from one person I heard from. So we'll
Yeah.
have to give it. I have to
I'm
look
sure
at
there'll
it
be some
myself.
balancing that needs to be done on the map.
Yeah, I'm sure, but
Oh.
I mean that's why they're testing it now.
Oh yeah.
All right, Bryce, let's get your game of the year.
Well, I guess it's unanimous. It's PUBG, just because of how fun it was, and still is. I do know we went through that lull period where they stopped updating it, but I don't think that they stopped responding to users. I think they were writing everything down, and we're hopefully, focusing everything in this 1.0 release. I mean, a lot of people were kind of disappointed that they were trying to just kind of, I guess, overlook things and go, hey, here's some new shiny items like trucks and the new weapons and stuff like that. But based on the footage I've seen of the actual test servers, they were listening. They were listening the whole time. And as for battle royale games, I never played H1Z1, so this was my first one. This one
Yeah,
really
same.
did set a
Yeah.
standard. I do know that a lot of other companies started pumping out battle royale as soon as PUBG became,
I think-
super
and-
popular.
I think this year you're going to see a wave of battle royale
I
games.
mean, and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
already been announced that what was that zombie game that came not that long ago, the parkour zombie game.
I know what you're
I
talking
know
about.
what you're talking about. Is it Evil?
Yeah.
Daylight.
Daylight?
Or no.
Dead by Daylight?
No, not Dead
No.
by Daylight.
What's it called? Dying Light. It's
Dying Light, yeah,
Dying
Light.
Yeah, Dying Light. They've released that they're gonna have a battle royale type of DLC that's gonna come out for the game. So I mean, it's just like everybody's
Same with GTA.
doing it now.
Everybody's picking up on the wave, right?
If it works, it works.
Yeah.
So,
It
You
kind of
just have to
really
be-
depends.
Yeah.
yeah. So even Fortnite now they're doing a 50 versus 50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard that
gameplay.
as well. They were upping their game on their side, which Fortnite I really do think is more of a console game than it is PC, just based on controls and what all it entails.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of a cool aspect to have building stuff, but I've also seen a lot of complaints where it just kind of gets in the way, right? It's cool that you can build forts around yourself, but I don't know.
Matt and I played
do that,
that
go
one
play
game. Matt and I played that
You
one
go-
game where we were at the end. We were the last like 4 or 5 people. The other
Yeah.
2 teams decided to actually build a fort, and we were just on the ground.
Yeah, well, it was my first time playing.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh, this is what the end circle is like,
The
Yeah,
strat
so it's
is
like,
in the
oh,
name.
at the end, you need
Yeah,
to build.
you just
Got it.
build high as you can. I actually saw this one funny GIF on Fortnite where a guy just built this huge ramp up to the sky. It was 1v1. One guy was all the way up top. The guy up bottom actually shot the ramp to where it wasn't connected to the ground anymore, and everything just started falling, and the guy fell to his death. It was funny. It was funny. I want to send that to you guys, but it was just like, oh, okay. I guess you can't just have floating things. So that's one thing about that. But yeah, I mean, because of PUBG, Battle Royale is now a new thing. So
it's a new type of gameplay, and I really think we should give them credit for the fact that they've
I don't
kind of
know if
got it.
anybody.
it's more
popular.
mainstream now. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody
yeah.
anytime soon is gonna do it as well as PUBG. I mean, because even now it's still doing better than its predecessor H1Z1,
Right.
and
well,
now they're
by
just
miles.
following suit.
Yeah,
PUBG
by
is like,
miles
we're
just
gonna
because
come
of
out
how
of
it
early
looks.
access, and then H1Z. Yeah, we're gonna do that too, even though we said it 3 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
I do think it's good for competition because
for sure.
PUBG is making H1 actually sit up and notice and like, oh shit, we gotta do something now because they've been sitting by just barely doing it,
raking it in from people.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we're gonna get out of early access.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, if we go back to like the new map that's coming out for PUBG, I was looking at the footage that people were playing, and I was a little skeptical because I was thinking it was gonna be a lot of town type fights, and sometimes we like it, sometimes we don't, especially when the circle kind of forces you into a building or you're stuck in a building because of the circle. But it looks like with the new vaulting stuff, it might help out a lot. I haven't seen any big issues with vaulting. It looks like it takes care of a lot of
And
the
that
jumping issues that we had.
that was one of my biggest complaints. Is like, I can clearly get my feet above this. Why the fuck can't I get over this?
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
I always had
It
two-story
was
buildings.
so frustrating.
I had the toughest time getting off the balcony. And I'm like, why can I not jump over this balcony? Every single time. So it's almost like you have to have a running start in order to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad vaulting's in there. It looks nice. There's going to be a whole new strategy on how to vault. I mean, I've seen some go ahead and start shooting out windows as soon as they enter a building, because when you vault out of a window, you hear the glass sound.
Yeah.
So so this should be interesting new strats. But when they started finally getting out of the cities and going out, there's lots of hills and lots of crevices to hide in, which will be nice and get rid of some of that open flat land that we're used to. But no, I'm definitely loving that PUBG is finally pumping out their new stuff. I know it's been a long road, especially with all the bugs and items like that. But it looks like they have their stuff together and hoping to get this thing truly live by the end of the year.
Andrew had to
hopefully.
kill the clean sweep of
Maybe- oh,
PUBG.
over.
Congrats.
The
Yeah.
what?
Had to be different, huh?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's just.
Don't get me wrong.
I love
Horizon
my
was a
single-player
was a
stories.
beautiful game.
Hive mind, Andrew. Hive mind.
I mean, to be honest, like I'm looking at the Game Awards nominees. 4 of the 5 are single player only. I feel what I'm saying is it's making a comeback. No, I know a lot of times like we're seeing like people want to do multiplayer stuff. People want this, what that. And
But you have two different groups. You
no,
really
yeah.
do.
It's just
And
what I'm
and
seeing
also
though. It's just like
internet
it
limited,
seems
too.
right.
And you have to guess on what's most accessible too. And I mean, PUBG is not the most accessible type of game. Every 13-year-old kid
However, it
and
is
their fucking dog has a PS4 and Xbox. They can't play that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can play these single story
They
games.
will play it next Tuesday though.
They will.
12.
Is it coming out next Tuesday?
Yep, and
Oh my
Nick's
God.
gonna get it, so I think I'm gonna get it.
Of course.
He doesn't have a PC, but he's willing to play on Xbox at 30 frames per second. But
Some people just make wrong decisions in their life.
It should be
Fine.
interesting.
yeah.
Alright. Well,
hopefully
that was
they
it.
plan to
So,
update
But
that.
yeah, I mean, we'll
on the
officially
horizon.
call the game of the year from Rewind Entertainment as PUBG. So yay!
Get you some.
Almost unanimous.
Get wrecked, nubs.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. All right. Well, that will conclude episode 1 of the Rewind Entertainment podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna do our outros now. Anything you guys want to plug, like your Twitter handle, any streams coming up? Jason, you have anything?
No, not this time.
Not this time.
No, not really.
All right. What about you, Matt?
Nah, dude, I'm good. Stay
No?
tuned for the next episode, though.
For next
This is
episode?
episode 1 out of 7,322.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
we got a lot more things you can plug
So
in
many,
next
man. For the
episodes.
next 50 years.
Yes.
that many
do-
years. I plan on staying along for 50 more years at least.
At least.
Well, I do have one plug for my Short Fuse Studios guys. If you're in the Round Rock area, go out to Flick's Brew House this weekend, which is, I believe, the premiere of Star Wars.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Hell yeah.
They have done 14 new pieces that are for sale. They're 11 by 18 prints of Star Wars characters. Really awesome guys, cool to hang out with, and each piece will be signed. So definitely go hang out, check out their artwork, get a couple good brews in, and go watch Star Wars.
Nice.
Again, Short Fuse Studios. You can also check them out on Facebook and Twitter.
Sweet. All right. Well, I'm gonna plug, of course, my stream and Twitter. So, Twitter is at TXaRicH, and Twitch, twitch.tv/TXaRicH. I'm your host, TXaRicH. Thanks for listening, guys, and see you on the next podcast. Later, everyone. Say bye.
See you.
Peace.
See ya.
Coming.